uh, I, I'm gonna record it so I can, just in case I need to send this to some of my friends and family.
Okay,
But
sure.
I'm actually serving as a director for diversity for the Department of the Navy, and so now I'm
I
overseeing,
saw that.
yeah,
I
overseeing
saw.
diversity efforts for all.
Congratulations. And
Yeah,
I
but
love seeing Doctor. I love seeing Dr. Charles Barber. That makes me happy.
it's a very mentally and emotionally draining job, but it's work. It's important work and work that needs to happen. And if I have my way, I want to cause leaders to start to rethink, what a meritocracy can be if we ensure that diversity and meritocracy, works in harmony. I think in some
Definitely.
cases we forget to acknowledge that, we all have different starting lines in life. And so I want to do my part to make sure that we start to
Hmm.
rethink that. So much so I got picked to do a TED talk on June the 3rd, no, June the 8th. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And
Oh
so
wow. Is
I'll
it
let you know how that
okay? I gotta
goes.
watch it.
Yeah. I'll keep you posted on the details, but
Okay.
a lot of good work going on for sure.
Well, that's great work. I mean, the thing is, a department as big as the Navy and with the history of the Navy and the responsibility of the Navy. I mean, they've got nuclear powered ships. They were at sea all the time. I mean, they're always operational. You and I were in the Army. The Army can be operational, but when you go to sea, that's why war isn't so different for the Navy, as it is for the Army. And I think, if there's not a really good cultural change for everyone, for all leaders in the Navy and all sailors in the Navy and civilians in the Navy, where to get the most out of every person and honor and respect every person, to have decency, not more than decency and respect because you're supposed to do it, but decency and respect because you want to do it, because
The right thing to do.
it makes the team better. It's
Yeah.
the right thing to do. And it's the golden rule. How would you want to be treated?
Absolutely.
How does
Absolutely.
everybody want to be treated? Why is that so hard? How about everybody just get treated like you want to be treated? I
Right.
don't know anybody who wants to be treated like dirt. I just don't. I've never met one.
You know what, sir? So one thing that I always admired about you when we were, back and forth with you is those are principles that you always live by. Not just today, not because of the events with George Floyd, but you always ensured everybody got treated with respect. And I so much admiration and respect for you.
Thanks. I've always done my best. I mean, I've always done my best. I have not been perfect. Obviously, I'm human. I grew up in a society that had, systemic racism and all kinds of things. And every year I'm older, I want to be better at being a good human and being a good person who's kind and fair and honoring of other people. I'm 57 now. I'm still getting better at it.
And look good for 57. Let me just say.
Thanks.
But so a lot of folks back home don't really understand what I did in terms of the Army track and field program, and I know I shared with you that I'm getting inducted into the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame, and a lot of that has to do with what happened, with what I did in the Army program. And so, number one, I wanted to make sure I express my thanks to you for the support that you gave me. I will never forget that day that we had the formation, and you called a formation at the end of the day. Nobody knew what it was for, and so. And then you said PFC Barber front and center. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? I didn't think I did anything wrong, but I just didn't know. And so,
you never know.
Yeah. And so you kind of went on about, some things with the company. And then you just kind of made the announcement with Chuck Barber got selected for the All Army track team. And my family don't know how competitive that process is. I mean, you have to be cream of the crop to get picked to be all Army. And then, yeah. And once I got to the camp, that was a whole nother dynamic on its own. There was a lot of politics that took place at the camp, and we'll get to that. But I just wanted to tell you, thank you so much for the
You're welcome. I remember that day, and I have to say it was First Sergeant Rich Harris.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, hey, sir, and it was he's like, hey, sir, you got picked for the team, and so the thing is, he and I both had a track and field background. So I was one of the worst javelin throwers in the Mid-American Conference at Ball State. I did it because I loved it. And I tried my hand at decathlon, but I was horrible, but I enjoyed it. Yeah. And Rich was just good at everything. He could do everything.
Yeah.
And I think he did track and field at Marshall and in high school. So we were kind of track guys. And so, when he came in and told me one day, hey, we got a soldier PFC Barber, he's really fast. I'm like, how? Tell me fast. Give me some times. He's like, he's doing like I don't know, I forget exactly. It's like a 10-2, 10-3. I'm like, yards or meters? He's like, meters. I'm like, oh my God,
Well,
And so immediately it's like, wait a minute.
yeah, and I remember I think it was like the second week I was there. There was like the post championships that were going on, and you said, well, hey, we want to sign you up and let you go out there and compete for us. And I was like there for like 2 weeks. I think I went downtown and bought a pair of spikes, and I will never forget. There was a kid there. I think he was going through AIT training, but he had ran at a D1 school, and he was fast. He was pretty fast, and it was pretty much he and I just separated from the rest of the field. And I think we got to the finals, and I think he wound up pulling his hamstring. And so I think I ran like a 1060 that day, but that guy was pretty fast too. It would have been a really good race if he hadn't got hurt. But
well, remember in the Army, you always have you have like former NFL players, you have all kinds of people like in your basic training formation. So you don't know what kind of talent's there.
Yeah.
So
but
yeah.
I got to tell you though, so when you sent me to the camp, I didn't know what to expect when I got there. So when I got there, the very first day, everybody was kind of introducing themselves, saying like, what college they ran at. And I didn't think it was going to be political, because for me, track and field, you show up, you get on the starting line, and the clock takes the politics out of it. Either you're fast or you're not. And so when I got there, a lot of guys who had ran D1. I ran at Washita Baptist. That's why I got my shirt on.
I remember why I saw your. I remember why.
Yep. And so so we went around. We were introducing ourselves, and so the guys were saying, "Hey, well, I ran at LSU." Another guy, sprinter, said he ran at Ole Miss, Mississippi State. And right off the bat, as soon as I said where I ran from, I was kind of excluded. So I didn't get to lunch with some of the primary sprinters. With some of those guys who were like there before. And I just remember being just super angry about it. And so fast forward a week later, and we have our first time trial. So this was the trial that was going to make those cuts. So the first two folks in your event, you get to run in the all armed forces championships, and then of course the top four, you get picked for the relay. And so I just remember being so angry. And so when we got in those starting blocks for the finals of the time trials, and I can remember like it was yesterday, just bang, the gun going off and just coming out of that driving phase. And I remember looking to my left and looking to my right, and I was like, well, there's nobody there. So I just kept relaxing and just stayed with my form and just, busted. I think I ran a 1040 that day. And so the guy who I beat was a defending champ, and he ran at LSU.
I remember.
And so I will never forget, because you were the first person I called, and I said, hey, so I just won 100 meters at the All Army camp. And then you said, well, do you know what this means? And I was like, no. He said, you are the fastest man in the Army. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Oh, and
so the coach didn't even come and like shake my hand, so he goes over to the defending guy, the guy who won it before, and he says, well, maybe you just hurt. We'll do another time trial. And I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? So another week passes. We get in the blocks again. This time I busted tape at 10:25. And so I remember the coach looked at him and he said, you can't do another one. He said, that's the guy who's going to represent us for the 100 meters. And so we went to like a series of D1 meets. Well, I think we went to, we ran at the University of Oklahoma. We went to Texas. But instead of them letting me anchor the meet, the 4x1, they had me running the first leg, because they were still trying to put this guy in a spotlight. But you always so supportive, and I will never be able to repay you for that. Never be able to.
I remember you telling us what was going on, because it always the call would come in, and First Sergeant Harris and I'd be in there, and maybe a few other people. And you had a fan club in Alpha Company. Let's face it. And Thunder and Herg was behind you.
Yeah.
And there were some great runners in that unit. I mean, this middle distance runners. I mean, we had there's a talent pool there, and you were like, representing everyone. Yeah. And remember you telling us those times. This was this is coming off the heels of the Atlanta 96 Olympics, right? So we were like sitting there going, Charles Barber, he could be in the next Olympics. We were dreaming big dreams. And because you just kept getting faster, it's
yeah. And I think were you in the stands the day that I ran a 998?
Was that in Huachuca?
It was. My last post. Well, you were at all my track meets. Even so. I'll come back to that one. but you may also remember like me getting a lot of scholarship offers. And had to tell these schools that, well, hey, I've
Mhm.
only got a year of eligibility left. So
Mhm.
I got a scholarship offer from the University of Arizona, got one
Yeah.
from Arizona State, even got asked to consider going to West Point. And I was like, well, I'm too old to go to West Point, but
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
flattering. But the day that I raced Donovan Bailey at Arizona University,
Yes.
that was the race that really put me on the map in terms of, world class status and all of that stuff, because Donovan Bailey showed up, and it was early in the track season, and he wasn't quite in the best shape that he normally is,
Mhm.
but I beat him that day. I think I ran a 10:15, and I think he ran like a 10:25.
Mhm.
It wasn't a big deal to him because it was early in the meet, but to me, I feel like I just set a world record by beating him.
Hey, well, I mean, just on any given day, the race is the race, right? And he was two best men, fastest men on the field. Who's going to win? And that was the thing. And I know there's a lot of, as that went on, I also, Rich and I would talk that there was a lot of pressure coming on you. Here you were like you're still a pretty new soldier, and here you are doing all this stuff, and a lot of people would lose their head or lose their feet under them, or get a big head, or sometimes the other soldiers get jealous and want to, like, mess with you. But you always handle it with such grace, and you always handle it with such grace. And I used to talk to you about, like, man, I want to meet your parents, because whatever they did to raise you, man, you handled everything in such an honorable and graceful way. And it said, I mean, you were like a younger soldier, but in the middle of that, you were setting such an example for everyone else around you. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter the rank. It's the how much honor and integrity you act with, and you had that extra, icing of grace too. That was I got to tell you, I had a 22-year career in the Army. I didn't see that so often. I got to see it early with you, but maybe I was too busy to see it. It was elsewhere. But that is so. I remember that more than I remember your running.
I got to tell you, and I'll try to do it without getting choked up, but
Me too.
you did a lot for me outside of just track and field too. So there was one morning where you actually had me like leading the company, like in formation of the company, and I was
I
just
remember
like,
that.
it
Yeah.
was just so inspiring. And then everybody's looking around, but like, well, why is he letting PFC Barber get out in front of that formation like that? And then you actually stood at the back of the formation. But
Mhm.
when you pulled me to the side, you just told me that you always saw like more in me just as being a soldier athlete, but you saw me as a leader, and you saw me as like a good person. And that I will never ever be able to repay you. The things, that investment that you gave in me back then, I will never be able to repay you for that. It meant more to me than you even realized. It really did.
Well, you're so welcome, and you don't owe me a thing. What, if you want to pay it out to the people around you, the people above you, under you, near you, the gas station attendant you bump into tomorrow. I mean, everybody. My way. It's like it has to touch everyone around you, not just
Yeah.
people in your hierarchy or any of that. And the thing is, you do that already. I don't have to tell you that. I know you do that. And it's been so great to watch your rise, to watch you, becoming a warrant officer. I was like, no surprise. And then, one day on LinkedIn, I'm like, oh, Dr. Charles Barber. Like, I was like, none of this is a surprise to me, or see where you are now with the Navy. I'm not surprised. I expected great things from you because you had all those qualities, and you had, it's easy for people to lose their head. It's easy for people to lose their way. It's easy for people to let other people's jealousy or hard times or all kinds of stuff knock them off track.
Yeah.
And you see, I said track there, but you never did. You never did. And look at you now. I mean, I can't believe, you're more educated than I am. I don't have a PhD. So I'm like looking, but that's what you want. You want all your soldiers, to rise up and be whatever, but when I came in the Army, it was be all you could be.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was kind of it. And I know Rich Harris felt the same way. He was just so proud of you. So proud of you. And everybody
Made
was.
it easy. I mean, I would always get tickled like when we have to do like the obstacle course, and then First Sergeant Harris would say, "Okay, everybody, you line up here except PFC Barber." You stand to the side because he didn't want me to get hurt. Well, they had my legs were insured with Lloyd's of London, for
Yeah.
a little while because they just wanted to protect the investment. They didn't want me to get hurt, but it was just funny the way he would just manage that during like the different
Oh
like.
yeah. I think I remember that. He's like, Barber, over here.
Yep.
He's like, nope, nope. Well, and the thing was, I remember, the thing was at the time when you were doing all the track stuff, people were like, oh man, I think it was the day a few soldiers realized, oh no, he's doing extra PT. He's doing his job and a lot of extra. It's like, you want to do that much extra? That's what it takes to be there. And like, I think that's what made some click with some people, like, oh, he's not out loafing.
Mm-mm.
He's working extra.
Mm-mm. Of course, they would always look, well, his PT score looks a little bit different from the rest of ours, but I was always doing stuff outside of just PT. You're exactly right. And yeah.
And you're always tired.
Yes. Yeah. But you're exactly right about the pressure. It was, I think mentally, having to show up at those Pac-10 meets and some of those other like, world-class level events and stuff, it was so tough to do and continue to be
staying healthy
at the same time. Yeah.
And just, soldier athletes staying healthy and eating right and getting to sleep in the barracks, right? I mean, that's like all the things you take for granted. Yeah. Those college runners, they got like a special dorm, they got a special training table to eat at, and you've got like the Fort Huachuca mess hall and you got Alpha Company barracks.
Yeah. So, so I'm not sure if you remember Les Woods. He was the MWR director there for Fort Huachuca, but he wound up calling me back in 2012, and they put together like this, almost like a Fort Huachuca like sports Hall of Fame event, where they made me a plaque where they recognized that time being like the fastest time ever recorded there. But what Les Woods told me was, not only is that still a post record, but he told me that was the fastest time ever recorded in the state of Arizona at the time. And I didn't really think about it because, you have all these Pac-10 athletes, and then you bring in these professional athletes. So when he actually said it at the ceremony, I was like, wow, I didn't really put that in perspective. And then he even went back and looked at, like where I ranked in the world at the time. And I think at the time I was like, it was number 7 in the world and like number 5 in the United States at the time. And so, but those are things that you don't think about at the time. I was just like a young country kid from Ball Knob, just running, trying to run as fast as I can. But he put it in perspective for me.
That's what had us thinking, was it 2000? Was it Sydney? We're like, yeah, Barber in Sydney, let's go. And I think because sometime later, I moved to another job and go teach ROTC up at Flagstaff in Northern Arizona. But I still call back and like, hey, what's, or Rich would tell me like, oh yeah, you wouldn't believe what he did now, he did another thing. And it's just, but what a thing that, later in my career, I thought, is that going to happen again? Am I going to have soldiers and sailors and airmen who could do all that? It's like, no, that was it. You were, because, I was still a young officer. I was like, oh, this must happen all the time, but you don't realize it's, it is definitely special,
Yeah.
You're a very special case.
No, I appreciate you. And I thank you for taking some time to kind of like help me kind of share some of this with my family. I mean, I would call home and just say, hey, well, I did this week, or this is what I'm doing. And it doesn't really resonate with a lot of folks because they don't know that you have world-class sports, in the military, that you can do these kinds of things. And so, so when the Hall of Fame stuff came up, and folks were like, well, holy cow, he was doing all of that in the military. Yeah. But of course the folks who were in my circle, they always stayed in touch and they knew what I was doing, but a lot of folks didn't really realize that all that stuff was going on. But I can't thank you enough. You were one of the biggest inspirations for me.
Again, you don't have, thank you, Charles, but you don't, Dr. Charles, I should say, you don't have to thank me. It was just, you walked in with such a great attitude and so much talent, and it would be neglectful if we had not let you take your shot. It would be leadership negligence. It would be dereliction of my duty as a leader if you didn't get that shot. It just wouldn't be right at all. We promised the soldiers they come in that we're going to help you be the best you can be. and you're still, and oh, by the way, and we're still going to get the mission done. Those aren't two separate things. And I would be a failure as a leader if I hadn't let you do and let you do it. There was not, to me, it wasn't a choice. It was just going to happen.
Yeah.
And I know that Rich Harris and I were completely in agreement on that. He was like, "Hey, he's doing this." I'm like, "Yeah, he is." What do I have to sign? Let's get this going.
So I got to tell you, and I won't keep it because I know you just came in from traveling. But the one thing I wanted to share with you is, and I can't share too much detail because I don't want to spoil what's going to happen with the Hall of Fame. But so they make you record your remarks, because I guess in the past folks have gotten up there and they've gone past the 5-minute mark and make the ceremony run long. And so I got a chance to record my Hall of Fame induction speech this past Friday. And I might send it to you and give you a sneak peek, but I won't post it on social media until after the event. But one of the things I talk about in that speech is what an honor it is to be inducted as a soldier athlete. And I don't think, and I think I also said, I don't think we've had any other soldier athletes to go into the Hall of Fame. But to me, that was the biggest honor, to continue to do what I love to do while simultaneously serving my country. Leaders like you made that possible. But to me, that's just such a big honor to be able to do that.
Well, you well-deserved. You deserve every good thing that's coming your way. And I know that you're passing it all on to others. You're passing it all on to, it's not worth holding on to the honor and the lessons if you don't pass them on. And I know you do that. And I'm just so proud to know you. I'm so proud to see how everything's, look where you are now. It's just amazing. It's amazing, but I'm not surprised. I saw big things for you, and I see more big things for you. I really do.
Well, stay tuned. I'm definitely going to stay in touch with you. So
we need
to write my book chapters. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, we need to do a phone call sometime, just you and me, and catch up. I'll give you, I don't know if you're on WhatsApp, I'll give you my Greek cell phone number.
I am. Send it to me.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I'll catch you up on all the stuff I've been doing too. And we can, who knows, I have to be in DC one of these days. So we'll have to have dinner and
absolutely
catch up even more.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so much. And
hey, it's my great honor.
All right. Take care.
It's my great honor. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Take care.